Hello students, welcome to Ekam IS Academy. As part of our prelims quick bite series, today we are going to discuss about a concept called zoo corals. Yes, so we are hearing more about corals, right? Corals means, these are the marine organisms which host a lot of biodiversity. In this context, we are going to see in the Europe for the first time, they have bred already successfully developed zoo corals and they are breeding in this in the natural form. So we'll be looking what is this concept of zoo corals and we'll understand how it is working. Then zoo bred corals are getting merged with Europeans' largest reef. So coral reefs are present across the world. In this context, whatever the largest reef in Europe is that is being merged with zoo bred corals. Means zoo is a mechanism where we artificially have captive breeding of the animals or any marine organisms. So there we are developing the corals and now those are getting merged with the natural coral reefs. So in this way we are trying to conserve. Why we are going to conserve is because in the recent times we are mostly hearing about a term called coral bleaching. Before that we need to understand what are actually corals. So and we'll understand about this. It is the first project happening in the world because where we are merging with zoo corals and the naturally bred corals. So what happens here is we are trying to increase the capacity of resilience in the coral reefs and the structure so that they can withstand the sea surface temperature rise and all. So this is what happening. Then what are corals? Corals are nothing but coral polyps. So these are polyps or marine organisms which depend on an algae called zooxanthellae. So zooxanthellae and polyps have symbiotic relationship where polyp will be giving shelter to zooxanthellae and zooxanthellae will be providing food to the polyps. In this way, symbiotic relationship or mutualism is existing between the corals as well as zooxanthellae so that both are thriving. But what is the problem? So zooxanthellae, in harsh weather conditions or in case if the increase in temperature happens, these algae will be expelled out of corals. When they expel out of corals, what happens? So these corals will be having no zooxanthellae. When they don't have zooxanthellae, they don't have any food. So what happens when they don't have food? They will lose all their colors. So whatever the image we have seen in the very first slide, so all that colorful image that will be turning as white because the corals are deprived of any zooxanthellae now. So that will lead into coral bleaching. So because of this problem, coral bleaching, we are trying to artificially breed some corals and we are trying to integrate them into the marine ecosystem. So this is what actually happened. So what is this coral bleaching? Under stress. So what are the stressful conditions for the corals? Increase in temperatures or more accumulation of fresh water, or if there is more nutrient rich water in these situations, because corals have some specific conditions where they only can survive. In those conditions only they can thrive. So in case if you disturb any of these conditions, then corals will face some stress under which they are subjected to coral bleaching. Okay, so this is what happens. And you can see here coral bleaching has affected Great Barrier Reef in Australia where 90% of the corals are stressed. And in the recent times we have fifth mass coral bleaching also noticed. Then in the Florida also we have this bleaching event that has taken place in the last year. So, but before that, we have to know all the places which are associated to this zoo corals and all. So, we have Burgess Ocean. So, these type of questions can be asked in prelims. Burgess Ocean is in Netherlands and this is one of the tropical coral reef aquarium where they're artificially breeding these corals and they're trying to integrate in the main marine ecosystem. So this is the largest living coral reef in the Europe where we call this as Burgess Ocean. So this is what we have to keep in mind. Then with respect to corals, we have to know about some terms like biorock technology where we are using electricity to generate this mesh and all. Cryomesh technology is also used. In this we are trying to generate certain heat and temperature and we are trying to build the corals. Biorock technology and cryomesh is also used. Cryomesh is also one of the technology in helping in producing the corals. At the same time, we also have another concept called International Coral Reef Initiative in which India is also a member. This is one of the organization which is aiming to conserve corals. At the same time, we have Coral Triangle. So Coral Triangle means a group of countries which will form triangle shape. What are those countries? Malaysia, Indonesia. We have then Malaysia, Indonesia, we have Papua New Guinea. Those belt we have as Coral Triangle where we have lot of corals present in the world. Okay, so in this way we have many number of initiatives taken across to conserve the corals because corals have the highest biodiversity support in the marine organisms. And if you know where do we have corals in the Indian geographical area, try to put your answer in the comment section. So then let's see the practice question given yesterday. Which is the first state to implement NOTA? It is Chhattisgarh. Then with respect to today's question, which of the following have coral reefs? In India, 4 options were listed here: Andaman Nicobar, Gulf of Kutch, Gulf of Mannar and Sundarbans. Which of these have coral reefs? Try to put your answer in the comment section. Then, as we have reached to the end of the video, today we have seen what is the concept of zoo corals and where they were introduced for the first time. And we also have seen what is the concept of corals and what is the effect of harsh weather conditions on corals and how coral bleaching happens. And also we have seen what are the places associated with the zoo corals which are in the news. These are the things which are discussed as part of Prelims Quick Bite series. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.